Welcome to Fueling Your Legacy, hosted by Samuel Knickerbocker. Each week, we expose the faulty foundational mindsets of the past and rebuild a new, stronger foundation essential in creating your legacy. We've got a lot of work to do, so let's get started. Welcome back to Fuel Your Legacy, and today we're doing a book review. I love these days because it's a time for me to reflect on what I learned from the book that I read, and then how can I share that, how can I make it productive and help other people do that. If you'd like a link to the copy of this book, you can either, if you're not necessarily driving, but maybe sitting in traffic, you can always text my number, which is 385-263-7699. Text Sam to that, and then I can send you out a book review or the link to get access to this book. Or you can just scroll down in the show notes of the podcast and get it that way. But today we're going to be reviewing The Alchemist. This whole week we're talking about rewriting your subconscious, and then we're going to talk about The Alchemist today, and then Friday we're talking to Rodney Allgood, which is a fantastic speaker and just an awesome person that I've experienced in my life, helping me become better. We first met, much like a few of the other guests, at a retreat up in Heber, and his art form, skill form, and his story is absolutely transformational. I'm excited for you guys to get to speak with him. So let's dive into The Alchemist and really understand what this book is. It's kind of an interesting, almost like an archaic word, alchemist. It's kind of lost on society at this point on what that means. But alchemy was kind of like back in the old days, like 1400s, an alchemist was kind of referred to as almost like a magician or a mystic, somebody who had a greater understanding than the rest. Okay. And so one of the things that in this book that it says is alchemy is achieved in studying all the different religions and beliefs, and then identifying how natural laws work and then using them in your favor. So for me, I think that alchemy is really what my if I were to leave a legacy, I would hope that people would think of me as an alchemist, right? I would hope that they would recognize that I put in a lot of effort to being very open-minded and understanding lots of different things, and putting effort into understanding people's perspectives, religions, beliefs, and really digging down deep in, finding the unilateral truths, the natural laws that are at work in all beliefs and all religions. And then once I've identified those natural laws, really honing in on them and applying them in my life to where they're now being used for my benefit. For me, I believe that goes back to the core of why I'm here on this planet, and that is to become more like an infinite being who I believe is God. My objective is to learn the natural laws as whoever created us knows the natural laws, learn what they know, and learn to apply them in my life. And I believe that's the purpose of this life. And so alchemy is really the process or study of such things. What's interesting though is during the alchemy comes up this thought that when do we first discover what our personal alchemy is? When do we first discover what we personally were designed to do? And in the book, I tend to agree with this, but in the book they say your personal legend or legacy is actually discovered either as or by a child. So by the time you reach about high school, maybe a little bit past high school, if you're really one of the lucky ones, then a lot of people, they lose their dreams. Not everybody, but a lot of people, they lose their dreams by the time they get to definitely out of high school and into college. They're just sitting there thinking, man, I just need to pay the bills. I just need to feed my family. I just need to keep a roof over my head. And they've lost all desire to really go for life and really dream. And that is the difference between a child and somebody who's been trained by our culture and society. A child still hasn't quite picked up on all the social rules, so to say, or the impact of other people's judgmental opinions about what they should or should not do. So there's so many factors really baked into this, that as a child, we are able to discover what we really want our legacy to be, what our internal being feels that our legacy should be. And then over a period of time, that gets silenced due to our surrounding area, the people that surround us. I was talking to a great friend, which we'll hear from next week, Jen Duplessis, but she had a great story about really how that played out in her life, how she was a happy person, and then somebody said something to her and it changed her whole life, and changed the way she felt about herself, changed the way that she saw the world around her. And it really is true that children are the most malleable, they're the most influenceable. And so when you are, as a parent or an uncle or an aunt or just a random person talking to children, if you're a school teacher or a religious leader over children, it doesn't matter. But anytime you're interacting with children, I believe your objective should be to pour belief into them, teach them or encourage them, influence them, that they can do whatever they want, no matter what. That is one thing that I absolutely love about my childhood and my parents. There was a lot of things that I didn't like about my childhood. There's a lot of times that I felt put upon or unloved or uncared about, and it's so many different things. The one thing that I absolutely believe was consistent throughout my whole life was my parents' belief in me and constant, not just belief, but constant telling me that I could be and do whatever I put my mind to, that I could be and do whoever I wanted. And that belief has really stemmed into so much more in my life than I think I would have without that constant pouring in of belief. And so think about how are you interacting with your children or younger people than you or older people than you, for that matter. How are you interacting with your surroundings, and are you pouring belief into them, or are you sucking belief out of them? It's a good question to ponder on and just become aware of. And in my experience, I would say I do a healthy amount of both, and I try and do less of the sucking and more of the giving, but it doesn't always turn out that way. And I have to course correct almost daily. So I'm not saying I'm perfect, but the fact that I'm aware of it allows me to make those course corrections, where somebody who's unaware and unwilling to become aware, then they don't get to make those corrections. So thinking about that is really important. Now, sometimes, another thing they say in the book is sometimes the kind of thing to do is not to stretch someone's vision because they may not want to fulfill it, but it could upset them to know what they're missing. And I have found this absolutely to be true, right? So going back to this analogy of a child, and when they get older, they've kind of lost their vision. Some of those children, or some of those adults now, going and like trying to pour so much belief into them, it actually is not helpful, and it can cause a lot of animosity and what's the word? Disdain is maybe a little bit too harsh, but something to that effect, right? It can cause a lot of not happy feelings when that's what's going on. When you're pouring so much belief and you're saying, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, and you can trying to expand their vision. Well, some people are happier in their vision. There's a great quote. Forgive me for not knowing who it is, but basically it was a psychotherapist who was treating a bunch of insane people, and he was asked, if you could, would you take this dementia? Would you take this Alzheimer's? Would you take these things away from your clients? And the guy said, actually, I wouldn't. They're so much happier in that state. The reason they created that state is because they couldn't find a way to be happy inside of their own life. And so because of that, they chose to take a step back and create their own little world in which they were happy. And so to take that away from them would be cruel. And the same thing is here. Sometimes pouring too much vision into somebody, it's actually not what's needed. But what's more needed is helping them know that you're okay with where they're at, and there's potentially something better if they chose to change. But don't necessarily go in and define all the something better until you know that that's what they want, until they've kind of asked for it. And so, huge principle there, especially if you're a coach or a leader of people. Understanding that is a crucial aspect to I think to leading is understanding what your people can handle as far as vision stretching, and giving them it in small doses so that you can lead them into a vision rather than just dumping the whole vision on them and overwhelming them. It's just not the nicest thing to do, for sure. Another thing that it says that I just took a few bullet points of things that I absolutely loved in the book, but there's so much in there that I would strongly suggest, again, like every book review, go get the book, listen to it, and see how it could affect your life. But it says the universe is written in a language of luck and coincidence, and the difference is that fine line. So understanding, some people talk about luck, some people talk about coincidence. Understanding the difference could be actually crucial in your development of learning the natural laws and then applying them. And it says once you go into, I love this, so it's kind of the burn your ships mentality, but once you go into the desert, you can't look back. The only thing you have is to worry about how to move forward. And so many people, they get into something, but they only put one foot in. I've said this quote on the show before, but my mission president for when I served the mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, he said that a man with a foot on either side of the fence has a very sore crotch. And it's so true. Like, you need to be decisive. I don't care what you're deciding. I don't care if that's decide to leave where you're at or get farther in and cut off all boats or all options somewhere else. If it's whatever it is, make a full-on decision, put your money where your mouth is, and go for it, because just making the decision, they guarantees so much more success than this half-assed type approach to life. And so absolutely, I would say make a commitment so that when you get into the desert, you aren't worried about, okay, how can I get out? I just need to go forward. A few weeks ago, we did a book review on the Tao of Pooh. And what was interesting about that is it reminded me of a situation with Rabbit, Pooh, and Piglet when they're walking through the woods, and they just keep going in circles and circles and circles and circles because they're trying to get out, rather than just saying, oh, well, let's just go. And then they end up making it out of the 100-acre woods. Well, if Tigger finds him and kind of helps him out. But the point is, when you're trying to get out of something, especially when you have one foot in, one foot out, it just is miserable, and you get lost and lost and lost. And then you start thinking, what is the purpose of me doing all this? And so because of that, I think it's important, at least it has become important in my life, to go 100% into whatever it is I'm doing and not leave myself any way out. And just go all in and say, look, this is where I'm going. This is what I'm doing. I'm planting my flag. There's no other option. I'm going to be successful. And since I've done that in my life, honestly, it's helped me gain so much more peace and confidence in how to move forward. And so that is a key factor of all successful people. And if you read more and more biographies, you're going to see that people were all in. Many people, they were buried hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in debt, especially these bigger companies that we see today. There were millions of dollars in debt, and they pulled themselves out of it just because they had absolute sheer commitment that they were going to win no matter what. And this goes to kind of the for me, the groundbreaking thing, because as far as this book, and that is, are you looking for gold only? So many people, they're looking just for gold. They're looking for a way to increase their income, or even that is too broad, but they're looking for more dollars an hour. They're looking for more money. They're looking for more time. They're looking for more quality time with their children. They're looking for more children. They're looking for less children. It doesn't matter what it is. They're looking for a specific thing. And it's kind of counterintuitive, because people say, well, the more specific you can be about your goals, the better. And it's not that I disagree with that. I think that there's benefit to being specific. Just in my experience, by setting goals and time blocking and saying, okay, for this hour, I'm going to do this, and this hour, I'm going to do this, having backup plans, right? I've done all of that. And what I found was, if you live an absolutely rigid life, it actually is less effective. And so when this book, it says, are you looking for gold only, or for all of the gold-like opportunities? Okay, are you looking for gold only or all of the gold-like opportunities? That is a massive, massive difference. Even though they're just as profitable, people will pass up opportunities because it's not gold. It's not their specific goal. Rather than saying, oh, well, this goal of mine, if it's similar enough that if I accomplish this, maybe I'll end up with my end goal, right? They aren't looking for a way to get there. They just hope that they can go from A to Z without all of the process in between. But when you're willing to accept gold-like opportunities, things that are like, very similar to or have the same potential as what you're looking for, and you maximize it and then you move on, that's where I believe the true growth and the true purpose comes in, because now you're moving forward really with your intention, and you're taking every opportunity possible. I talked a few podcasts back to Nicholas Verily, and he has spoken on tons of stages. And one of the things that he did was he was speaking at 10X GrowthCon, and even though he was a speaker, he's already made tons of money being successful. He looks for these gold-like opportunities, and he noticed that there were people who were buying tickets and selling tickets because they weren't able to make it. So people wanted to make it, so they were trying to scalp tickets or buy tickets from scalpers, and then there was people who were trying to sell tickets. Well, for whatever reason, they weren't communicating online very well, and so he went and he just brokered the deal. And he said, hey, look, to the person who's selling the ticket, hey, will you sell it for $800? And it was originally $1,000 ticket, so he says, hey, will you sell it for $800? They say yes. Okay, so then he went to the other guy and said, hey, will you buy it for $900? And the guy's like, yeah, I'll buy it for $900. Well, in that transaction, he just made $100. Before the meeting had ever started, he had made $3,000 or $4,000 just by being willing to look for the gold-like opportunities and to take advantage of the gold-like opportunities rather than just gold in the physical sense itself. And so when you're walking through life, or you're looking to increase your income, or you're looking for a better marriage, you're looking for a better relationship, don't just look for the one thing that you need. Look for, hey, what are all the gold-like opportunities? What are all the things that could help increase our marriage or our business partnership or our business similarly or as well, right? We don't need the specific thing. We need something that does what it does. So in my case, I'll share a personal example right now. I need something that edits video and communicates with all of my devices. And so I've been looking at the difference between a Windows Surface Book or an iPad Pro. And the two of them both could do certain aspects. They have some pros and cons. Now, I prefer iPad because I like Apple. That is a very specific thing. But am I looking for just the specific Apple thing and I'm going to suffer the consequences? Or am I saying, okay, I need a specific service and there's lots of different options that provide that service. How can I accomplish and get that service done? And what are the other extrinsic benefits of me getting either one or the other? Well, then price comes into it, serviceability comes into it, and there's so many things that come into it. But I think at this point, I haven't purchased it, but I think I've decided on iPad Pro because of the connectivity between all of my other devices. Everything else I have is Apple. If I were to go get a Windows Surface computer, then it would be it just wouldn't be as communicative and wouldn't give me the serviceability that I'm really looking for out of the product. So understanding what type of opportunities are out there and how can you maximize the opportunity rather than the specific thing that you're looking for. As far as a product, look for what does that product offer you, and that's what you're looking for. So with that being said, just stay tuned for Friday. Super excited to have Rodney Allgood on. He is, again, and he's an incredible poet. His story of where he came from is absolutely insane and life-changing, I think, and how he's weathered the storm and become who he is today through his life is fantastic. And then the things that he will have us think about and talk to us about are absolutely life-changing as well. So stay tuned for that. That'll happen on Friday. And if you are wondering, well, where can I get quick access to that? You can go to my Instagram account, swipe up on the story, and you'll be able to get a direct link. It'll just open right up to you. or you can always just subscribe today and be alerted when it gets posted. So with that being said, we'll catch you next time on Fuel Your Legacy. Thanks for joining us today. If what you heard resonated with you, please like, comment, and share on social media. Tag me so I can give you a shout out on the next episode. And thanks to all those who have left a review. It helps spread the message of what it really takes to build a legacy that lasts. Catch you next time on Fueling Your Legacy.